Good morning and welcome back to the Beef and Barnsey Show, and from alternate locations all the way around. So, as usual, I am joined by internet personality Weber Cup Stalwart, new spokesperson for weight loss product.
Oh, stop!
Ad right here, and he just makes money bowling. He just wins. What's going on?
Yeah. I even made you some money this weekend.
And nobody appreciates it more than me. So,
yeah, we had a good weekend at the trio. I bowled with your son and Stephanie Swartz. We put on a valiant effort until it came to the last game. We were in. I think we were tied for third, and it was a Swiss format, so it's the position round every round, and we got a team who was a bit more better than us at playing on the overcliff. So, yeah, it was still fun. It was definitely a learning experience for Ryan. We're Barnsey and Beef this morning. So, yeah, I've had an interesting morning. I dropped one of my cars off at the dealership. I got back, everything was good. Then we're getting some sprinklers put in, so they're digging troughs. So I was trying to decide where I was going to go because they had some machinery going. They stopped. I was like, okay, they're going to be on the other side of the house. That's no big deal. And then the internet stopped. And I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just my part of the house. And then my wife said, the internet stopped. And I went outside, and there was a guy holding a spade, or shovel, whatever you guys call that.
Yeah.
And sorry, mister, I cut the wire.
Huh.
Needless to say, I was super pleased and said to him, no, it's okay. No problem. That's, of course, the reaction I had to it.
Yeah.
May have been a couple of doors slammed. Yeah, but maybe we're renegotiating the rate for how expensive my sprinkler system is going to be. So I'm currently on the phone. I'm in my wife's office because I figure it's probably better to be further away from those guys. And yeah, we'll see. You had a you had a pretty decent weekend. Certainly a good Saturday.
Yeah, led qualifying in my first. As Kevin alluded to in our previous intro, my first senior singles event, the Texas Masters, and led by a little bit of a fair amount, and then bowled four more on Sunday morning, was still leading by a fair amount, and then we dropped all the pins, and my 80 pin lead turned into down 110 after one. So I bowled my lowest game to start off the 8-round robin, 199, and there was a 279 and a 269. And so I was down 100 to multiple people. And so I fought around and ground around and got back to second. But Paul McCordick, the pretty McCordick twin of the two, he put a beating on us. And so I was 220 pins behind him. And yeah, and it wasn't just a left-handed thing actually either, because Jim Stevens, who wins just about everything down here, he beat him by about 400. And so he just put a beating on him.
You haven't really gone through. Robert Lawrence gave me the full breakdown of quite how that weekend went. So it wasn't just the fact that they chopped the pins, was it?
Well, not exactly. They did guarantee. It was more like a Thailand or Qatar kind of thing, where the top two over 60, I think.
Over 65.
It was over 65. It was 60 or 65. I didn't know. Were guaranteed into the top 8, which isn't a big deal. Jim Stevens is over. He's an over, and so he automatically qualifies. Paul and Pete are both over, so at one point there was 4 in the top 8 or 9 anyway, so it wasn't actually any kind of big deal. But at the end, they fell off on Sunday morning a little bit. Paul and Pete were battling out for the last spot, so I completely blame Pete for this deal because he could have channeled it himself. He did not, and Paul got in, and I was a couple of hundred pins, maybe a touch more than that ahead of him, and then I was 110 behind 1 game later. So
here's the voice of reason. Did you get a bonus for high qualifier? I think that's the only way to make that format acceptable.
Let me go with a solid no.
So, yeah, there we go.
No, it's actually a great prize fund as far as the keeping everybody happy prize fund. I mean, I think it was 1,500 for first. I think fifth was like 1,000.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already an equalizer prize fund, and then they put an equalizer format. And so, I mean, the only thing sillier than that would be bowling like a 3-game qualifier for a $200,000 seating round. But I digress.
What was your first thoughts when you threw the insight? Smooth. That's my first thoughts. It's going to be definitely a ball that I can use to keep closer to the head pin. I felt like it's definitely a control ball. So yeah, definitely need to. I'm going to play around a little bit with the surface to see what it does. But right now, I can see it being in that spot of just the one when I want to play those patterns. I got to use it on a dragon pattern yesterday, and like I say, I can definitely see that I could keep the ball a little closer to the head pin and play the shim rather than watching it go sideways off the end of the pattern. So we'll see. From the Rubicon, I felt like it was a kind of similar strength-wise to the Rubicon. I felt like the Rubicon was a little longer and came off it a little harder. But, I mean, long patterns are kind of a bit weird to test balls out on, to be honest.
Yeah, actually, everybody thinks you use really dull balls, but most of the time, I mean, sometimes two-handers can, but for the most part, dull balls on long patterns just burn up in the front are really lazy down lane, which goes right into this. You know, what do you use on a go-to ball on a fresh 48-foot pattern? My go-to is slow. Speed, not ball. Most of the time, the front will tell you how much ball you can throw, obviously as much as I can, but lots of times it's the same volume. It's just spread out over 10 extra feet many times. And so in general, it ends up being a medium ball, and you just have to throw it really a lot slower on long patterns to make it work.
I mean, I guess the other way to go about it is you use a strong ball, but you have to be aware that you're going to have to change quickly.
Yeah, if you do. Or use a lot of axis rotation, things like that, that'll get it through the front.
I just think that, like, the more ball you use, the more transition you're going to see, like, from changing, like, in terms of having to change ball. So on the very first game, yeah, you might be able to use the reality, but as soon as the oil carries down from that middle to front part of the lane to the back part of the lane, then you're going to have to be out of it immediately. So what a lot of pros try to do is they try to not have to make that change. So they go with a ball that they're going to be able to stay in for longer.
Yeah.
So
you go into one of those middle balls, a Zen with a little bit of, a little bit of shine knocked off, the phase 2 idle kind of type balls that will be good for a longer period of time. I'm going to touch on this real quick, and then I want to bring in our guests on the reality. We touched on it the last show in our product showcase. If you're interested, go back and watch that. That's on the UC2 and the reality. It's on the slower end, probably not as slow as the Insight. Listen to Sue here. It has some continuation. It's a pretty good heavy oil ball that's better than our recent high performance introductions. And so I think you can use it on both. Where before, I don't think some of our high performance balls were very useful on league and things like that. This one could be. So
seems like it continues pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. With that being said, let's bring in our guest. He is from Springfield, and that's Missouri, not where the Simpsons are from.
It might be where the Simpsons are from.
Well, who knows? It's one of the Springfields. Parts unknown. He has made 2 shows, and he waits for the big moments before he makes them. The 60th anniversary, and then the Players Championship last weekend. Made it into a roll-off, in the championship match against Francois Lavoie. An incredible sports background, and he is a very musically talented artist as well. Welcome to the Beef and Barnsey Show, Keven Williams.
How's it going?
Round and round. How about you?
Oh, we're here. We're here. Up a little earlier than I'd like to be on my day off, but I'll do it for you guys.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. The crack of 9:30.
I know. I have a rough life. It's hard out here.
I rewatched the show yesterday, or I watched the show yesterday, should I say? And I watched it in two halves. And outside of the Packy match, because he just sucked, I had no real understanding of how you were in the final. Because every match, I was like, "Hello, how are you doing, Mrs. Barnes? I like your shirt."
I do too. Sport in the cast.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Every match, it felt like Keven won this one. Like because you bowled the game against Benji Martinez, and I was wondering, does Martinez leave before the end of the game, because he had a pretty good reaction and you just couldn't strike at all that first 3 or 4 frames.
Right.
How much panic set in when you were the third 9 spare in a row?
It's crazy. Scores were high, as you could see.
Yeah.
Especially from the West, they were high, and he just shot 270. Not having a crowd there, it just wasn't the normal atmosphere of a show. So where he might have been a little more nervous, he was dialed in. He bowled really good against AJ. So I was like, this kid's gonna shoot 260 against me. And the ball I threw the first half of that game, I tried to stay a little further left because I didn't want to try to shim wreck me or Packy if we got to the finals against Frankie, because I didn't want to start at 17-18 where I got to. And clearly wasn't the ball. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to say what if, because I didn't throw the ball in the part of the lane that made him real easy. So I just moved in and said, screw it, let's do it. So yeah.
What did you change from, and what did you change to?
I was throwing a hero. Well, for starters, coming out there, I only brought 6 balls. And since we had the trucks there, I only brought balls that I knew I couldn't get drilled. I had some of the urethanes and things like that and some shorter pin balls. So if I needed anything on the truck that was current, I could just get it drilled. So when I got out there, when we bowled the first practice session, they were hard. They hooked from everywhere. They didn't hook outside. They were tough. And I was like, perfect. Going to throw the urethane balls. I like what I'm seeing. And then we got on the TV pair, and they couldn't have been easier. And so I told Eric Krause, our rep, I said, I need some house shot balls ASAP. So I drilled a couple balls on the truck to get some balls that I'm actually going to try to hook down lane. Not all my short pin stuff that I had. So I tried to throw an original hero, a shorter pin hero, so I could stay a little further left, and it clearly did not want to hook enough down lane. So I went to a knockout, and that ball hooks a bunch. It's more of our benchmark ball now, kind of like a phase 2 for you guys, maybe a little weaker. But yeah, I went to that, and, everyone's telling me that was an amazing ball change. And I'm like, I wanted to throw it frame 1, but it's hard to start at 17 as a lefty game 1 and have 3 games to potentially bowl. So, but I didn't last long somewhat left, still at like 13.
See, there you go. See that's where you went wrong.
With what, not staying left, or I should just
never give a shit about anybody else.
Right.
You were like, well, I didn't want to shim wreck it for me or Packy. Fuck Packy. Yeah. It ain't a team competition, dude.
No, I know. It was just the lanes in general, I just didn't, especially with right-handers going across us, and you can see the middle of the lane. They're going in the same part of the lane we are. We're usually left-handers. We want to stay as far left away from that, so we have head oil. You know how it usually goes, but they were just so easy. I was like, you know what? There's no way I'm going to shim wreck myself. Like, I'm just going to have to move in and hook it. And that left lane was super tight, but overall, yeah, I should have just did it from the get-go. So I'm glad that I got a chance to throw the last 6 of 7 that I did to tie Benji. But yeah, if he would have gotten off to a hot start like he did against AJ, I would have just been left in the dust, just chucking shots and getting off TV quick. So kind of
the one thing about it, it was his first match on TV. It had to be a tremendous amount of adrenaline, crowd or no crowd. And then it's just hard in that 5-7 minute break to not go through
right.
a swing in there, and that's why it's hard to win multiple games on TV, especially early on, because it's just hard to keep that level.
So I've just got to clear one thing up. Adam said here, did Benji get a fine for refusing to pull his mask? He didn't refuse to pull his mask over his nose. He got told to do it, and he did it when he was sat down. I think he just didn't realize that he hadn't pulled it up because he bowled with it down, and anybody who wears glasses kind of knows that that's somewhat of an issue. So, yeah, I mean,
somewhat's a nice way to put it, yeah.
Keven took off his mask in between frames, so I'm pretty sure there wasn't a situation for Benji. I don't think there was any non-refusal to pull it over his nose.
And just so we're clear, we're not going to have any more political talks about masks and that nonsense.
Yeah,
so,
I pissed off some people doing that.
I've seen enough nonsense about it. It's just I'm not talking about it. So
agreed,
but I'm not.
To touch up on Benji, the first game. The kid was super nice. It was his first telecast, just started bowling on tour. This dude was starstruck. He got a pen. All of us were signing autographs. He wanted photos with all of us. When he found out that Belmo was commentating, he was like, Belmo's here, Belmo's here. So I thought, no chance this kid shoots 190. Like, AJ's been bowling super good in the Southwest region. I was like, he's going to get smoked. I'm bowling AJ. This kid comes out and gives AJ the business. I was like, what's happening? It was amazing, honestly.
He still played all you guys.
I think the phrase is you got hustled, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, you guys are awesome. I'm throwing this freaking pin away after they sign it. Screw this.
Probably eBayed it. Yeah, the $10,000 or $15,000 check wasn't enough. He needed to pay for the flight.
Hey, a lot of people don't know you have a pretty extensive sports background, so I was going to let you talk about that a little bit, and we'll lead off with this. When's the 3-point contest with Belmo?
Sometime while we get back on tour, maybe at the World Series, when he posted a video on his Instagram, I had to say something. I said something like, this might be the only chance I can get a feeling to beating Belmo because can't do it bowling. And so he said something on the show that I was throwing all this shade at him. It wasn't that much shade. It was a little shade, just a little bit of shade.
Never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Yeah.
I know it. So, I look forward to it. You have a basketball background, Chris, and your family, and you hear all these bowlers that are like, I'm not good at basketball, but I can shoot real well. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah.
I actually want to play basketball. So
yeah,
it was funny. He's like, yeah, let's go play sometime while we're on tour. And I was like, oh, I'm ready whenever. So yeah, the second we see him.
I've seen Belmo. He didn't want any part. You're bouncy. He got nothing for that.
Yeah. Did you see Belmo do he did a video a long time ago with the Chicago Bulls guy. You should check that out.
Oh, no, I didn't see it.
Yeah, he did some bowling stuff with the guy, and then the guy's like doing some, I don't even think he got to trick shots on the basketball, and Belmo got smoked. So.
I'm not downplaying Belmo shooting, but if you're taking a video of you playing basketball, if I'm filming myself for 30 minutes, I'm going to hit 6 in a row eventually, and then I'm posting that 6 in a row. So I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's like a ball video.
It's like every ball video, yeah.
It's like
we put up a 10-bagger.
Except when Chris Barnes does it, because he just shows the good, the bad, and the ugly. Plug. But yeah, I mean, the best part of it is when you do the ball video and everybody goes, "Oh my God, are you just going to throw strikes?" No, I'll show the 5 that I got when I threw it out the window. I'm sure that's going to make you rush out and buy it. Like,
so when you throw it bad, it doesn't strike. This is the ball for me.
Weird. Yeah. So one of our regulars, Kelly, says we have to hear a rap from Kev. Loved your bowling in professional attire. Left lane looked a little tricky for you.
Left lane was a little tricky. Everyone always wants me to rap on the spot, and I never do. I never do it. I don't know why. No. I just never do it.
To be honest, I almost wondered how you could use your legs. Your pants were so tight. I don't know how you could actually engage your legs.
What's really funny is you think those pants are tight, and I have some much tighter that I was gonna wear, and I was like, we won't do that yet. We don't want to piss off all the bowling people in the world. So,
I was just they showed you you had a good posterior form. They had quite a few.
Let that butt pop a little bit, I got.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't the left always easy? Every time.
Both sides were easy.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be, bear with me here, but the right was a little easier. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
Yeah, I think that seems to be.
I think that's probably fair.
So far.
Thank you.
Um,
that must hurt to say that a little bit.
Well, it's fine because I didn't bowl in that one. The one I did bowl in, I think it would be fair to say that the left was a little easier.
See, and we'll always say when it's easier.
Yeah, I'd take my swing at getting to play outside of 10 the whole tournament and see how I did.
One ball packy.
One ball pack.
Gosh, eliminate all that stellar decision making that I do and all those crazy thoughts that go through my head and just go stand on the second dot and throw it over there between the first and second diamond.
So my wife's coming in here. She's throwing some shade at you. She said, "You're still no Chris Vi."
I am okay with that. I'm okay with being Chris Vi.
My wife is very disappointed when Chris hasn't got the slim fit pants on.
Skinny jeans. There we go. Yeah.
I mean, I just only strive. We all strive to be a Chris Vi one day, but
wow. There you go.
There we go.
For once.
In the history of bowling.
History. This is the first time ever that the right was a little easier.
Oh, look. Here we go. Del Powell coming back in over the top row. That is so true.
Never win. Never can win. Even
so you're not going to rap for us?
No, can't do it. I told you it's too early. I usually just waking up. My brain's not even on yet.
Well, they'd argue that has nothing to do with the time of the day, Kev.
Should we share one?
Yeah, do that. We can listen to whatever I got posted, but yeah, can't do it right now.
You have to take off the copyright, patent on us.
Yeah, I know. It happens so often. I got to hit people with some fees. So we let this one slide.
All right. Well, here we go. We're partway in.
Kind of in the middle part of the song.
Say that. What's that?
It's kind of like the middle part of the song here. This is a buddy of mine's house. We just do a little pool party. And it speaks for itself here. Pizza at the pool. What do you want?
It's all like yes, and they requesting for my music. That's just all I hear. She got junk in the trunk. Shot always fake, never pump. Fake, give a break, not a chump. Placed in the front, what? Take it to the face and they slump. Make them feel the bass when they bump. Yeah, you don't pay for it, they just bring them. Right? Acting like you're saying, but you leave them. Right? Drip is wetter than some Aquafina. Looking hotter than the summer. Nice to meet you, Mama Cita. Go ahead, girl, just stunt. It's clear that you do what you want. Back it up so they let you in the front. All these dudes been hating from the jump. I said, go ahead, girl, just stunt. It's clear that you do what you want. Back it up so they let you in the front. All these dudes been hating from the jump. My God, paper conversations, I just talk that shit. Money making moves, I just walk that shit. Loose off the goose, like I pop that fit. You see that juice, what I do, I'm a boss, that's it. And my team stay on the nonsense. Y'all team play like the Dolphins. Cautious, I'm in the sky like a cockpit. Y'all better fly as an ostrich. This shit toxic. In the game and I lost it. Counting up chips in the
pepperoni every time.
Got a contact from falling, cause I'm falling. Go ahead, girl, just shine. It's me. Back it up so they let you in the
better outing. Pizza in a pool, a whole bunch of dogs, and friends and females. What more can you ask for?
So what was the pizza of choice? Pepperoni or sausage?
It's pepperoni every time. Funny story. I dropped that whole pizza in the pool. My friend Alex was not happy, but hey,
no way. No way.
I went to hand the pizza to somebody. I was like, you guys want a slice? Because I felt weird having a whole pizza to myself. And everyone's just kind of sitting around. Like, yeah, we'll take a slice. And I kind of let go a little early and the whole pizza fell in the pool. So
you had to go buy another $6 pizza?
Yeah, I know. Really breaking the bank. I was way over budget on that video. It cost me $35.
It's weird. Yeah, Linda's right on. When we had our pool, that's pretty much how we did it, just like that. I sat there in the middle, and we played my music in the background.
And everyone just watched you while everyone, yeah. I wish I could have been there for that. I would have sat in the background for that.
So Sandy asks, are you bowling any of the other majors?
Yes, all but the TOC because I don't have a title, and all regionals are too far away from me. So if I bowl the TOC, it's because I win a national title, not a regional. But yes, I'll bowl the rest of them.
Cancel the video shoot, Kevin. You have to leave. Pizza's in the pool.
I would have done that 100%. 100%. He didn't know about it until he saw the video back, and there's a part in the video where it shows like pizza floating in the pool, and he's like, "What's going on here?" And I was like, "Oh, nothing." Wasn't me, I swear.
That's why you have a filter.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
A fan of yours here says you're awesome, your music is great, and your bowling is fun to watch.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
So when you went down there, I guess you were kind of expecting the lanes to play somewhat similar to how it was at the PBA playoffs. I would think you guys were bowling on the same pattern. And then a few of the guys had said to me that the practice sessions were kind of difficult. Like the lanes weren't very easy. So how shocked were you when you got on the TV pair and like it's almost impossible to miss right or left for the right for you guys and left for the lefties for the right? Sorry,
it was, it caught me off guard because, like I said, the balls that I had brought there were for a little bit tougher pattern, a little bit flatter pattern, stuff that's not going to hook a lot down lane. I could play them a little straighter, like a typical lefty. And then when we get on there and me and Packy are striking, everyone's striking from every arrow with every ball. I'm throwing balls I shouldn't be throwing from 25. I'm slow hooking a urethane ball and it's striking. I'm like, I need some house shot balls drilled ASAP, Eric. And he's like, whatever you need. So yeah, they were much easier. I don't know how they got that way. I was told that, I don't even know. I was told that they added a couple units in the middle part of the lane to make them. They were cliffed, if anything. If you missed in, it didn't hook. And I mean, you saw on the West show, people had a lot of room. I threw some shots so bad that still struck. So, I mean, they weren't hard. They really weren't hard. The only thing that made them tricky is the transition got real weird. They got really tight down lane. The left lane got a little funky for me. But, I mean.
It almost seemed like towards the end, you really had to really play the dry. Like you couldn't, you had to get it to the dry. And then if it overbounced, it kind of just stopped.
Yeah.
There wasn't really an overbounce for you, it seemed like.
You wanted the miss to be where you thought it was going to overhook because it still wasn't going to. Every time I'd miss in, I'd rolled a little forward, it went so straight down lane. So it's like, all right, I need to miss it slow around it or throw it to the hook spot and think I'm going to get 6 and it's going to lay there. And it did every time. One shot, I threw it to like 4. I was like, after I got 6 against Frankie, I got up on the left lane. I was like, literally just be as steep as you can with your angles and like try to make it 8 pin, if anything. And I threw one to like 3 nice and slow. And the commentator's like, oh my God, that got left. And I'm like, aced. I know that's going to strike because it was the right miss. It was the right miss.
Yeah, I mean,
it was going that way. And they're like, oh my God, it was so left. And I was like, perfect.
I didn't really understand Randy's shock at that coming back. That was like the least shocking thing that happened. That's like
the bad
outside of on your side, it felt like the angle you were playing that was basically like rolling the ball on carpet. Yeah. It was like unlimited stop.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah. I mean, the ball was going to slow down. And once, you got a 500 RPMs and you're using a fairly angular ball, it's going to come off it.
Right. And that's, again, when you bowl, especially when they're easier or harder, you always gear a miss. It's like, okay, I have a decent ball reaction. I can miss either this way or this way. And if you throw it bad, you want it to be that correct miss. Well, my correct miss was always left and slow, and I never did it. Every time I threw it bad, I threw it hard and right. So that was the only one where I was like, well, it's a little left, but I know it's going to be good. And I did it one time the whole show.
I feel like you got your roll off against Frankie in the absolute in-between zone.
I know it. It was a little forward, and it wasn't quite in enough or steep enough.
Exactly. Like
it was actually too good. It was like an 85%, and it needed to be like 80 or 90.
Right.
Well, it just felt like you looked like you really wanted to make sure you didn't grab it.
Yeah.
And then if you'd have thrown it where you threw it and grabbed the piss out of it, it would have probably been fine.
It
But-
actually didn't matter on that lane. If I grabbed it and threw it anywhere in the direction of left, it was gonna still not overhook on that lane.
Yeah.
It was so tight down lane.
It's just
It was pretty decent shot, honestly. But
no, that's what I'm saying. You spend your whole life convincing yourself not to grab it when you need one, and then the one time when you actually needed to just grab the holes out of it,
yeah,
you actually did exactly what you wanted to do, and then of course the flat sevens and I mean, I did feel like you were you definitely used most of the hold on your first roll off. You weren't very thrilled by that one. When you let go of it, I was like, oh my god, did Benji get 3 in the roll off to lose this roll off?
Dude,
Because I thought I was going to be looking at the old big 6 there.
oh my god, the fact that I wiggle 6-pin is a miracle. Because off my hand, I was like, wow, this is your job, Kevin. Congrats on that. Yeah.
See, and he said that on the mic.
Yeah, I literally said, oh, it's like your first time bowling. Good job. So
yeah, that was the soft and right. That one wasn't the one you were looking for there. So
no, pretty and
we've all thrown it. I'm not throwing shade.
of course.
Can't judge.
I'll be the first to say I threw it all over the place. It's funny because like when I made my other telecast, we didn't have Specto. So to have Specto now, I was like, yeah, I'm curious to see like if my misses are good, they're parallel. And boy, did I throw it all over the place. And I was telling everyone, I was like, yeah, don't pay attention to the graphics on the top right.
They're not real.
There's a couple that were all right, but I mean,
look like the clutch at the place with all the colored pool noodles.
I know, right? Yeah, people, like the non-bowlers that are watching it, they're like, what does that mean? It's like, oh, it's just showing where I can throw it, not where I want to throw it. Like, I can throw it at any of these directions. So,
hey, all I can say is from looking at those graphics, you look like Earl Anthony in comparison to Packy. Packy had a rough outing. And the other thing that they do that I really don't like is they put up the graphics and they said that you guys had like this difference in your shots. Well, you were playing the 2 lanes similar. Packy was playing the 2 lanes 5 boards apart. So then they wrote that he had a 5-board difference in his laydown. I'm like, what are you doing?
No good bowler in the history of bowling has had that kind of difference.
right.
Yeah, like
the left lane was tighter, but you always want to try to play them as similar as possible, so you're not doing too much different things. When it comes to
I mean the only mitigating circumstance I guess with that is if you're throwing the same release, you're just using a different ball, then you can like kind of play them a bit different, which is kind of what I think that Packy was doing. But when they put the graphics up, they were like showing that you had like 0.8 difference between yours and Packy had like 3.7 average difference between his. And I'm like, come on.
No.
How are you going to do him like that?
It was just a speed and roll thing on the left lane because, like you saw, it was just so tight down lane. I could play the same part of the lane, but it had to be a different miss in the right lane where, and the Specto, when it reads the rev rate and speed, we all know that's not super accurate because what I was trying to do on the left lane was not quite the same as the right lane. So
no, well, the shot when you miss in will read 50 RPMs higher than the one that gets to the gutter. So it's
slowing down.
Yeah, it's just it's a calculation. It doesn't pass all the way through. So
see, this isn't a personal thing. This is a sport thing.
Yeah.
Science.
I like Kevin. My dad's left-handed. My son's left-handed.
I regularly room with Jesper.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a big deal. Hey, I don't like Frankie when we bowl either. Because when we bowl singles, he always beats me.
Yeah.
And when we bowl doubles.
You guys bowled good as Snowman, whatever.
Yeah, well, one of us did.
Which one is that? Who's the one that bowled good?
Not the one who's bowling for 250,000.
Not the one that allegedly had a 500 RPM on the last shot. So, because 500 RPMs, his ball might have hooked on 45 mils of oil. And it did not.
No, Frank. To be honest, Frankie bowled really well in the matches that I bowled really bad. We actually complimented each other pretty well.
That's supposed to work.
But yeah, we haven't hit our stride yet in doubles. So the first time we bowled together, I bowled really well and Frankie didn't bowl very well. And then I think we bowled a regional together and we kind of clubbed together enough to win to get to second in that regional. And then we bowled in Indy last year. And for me, I did not shed a single tear when we're not going back to Indy. I really like the people there. I don't particularly love the city that much. I'm a Patriots fan, so, suck it, Colts. Stop whining. So overall, not going to Indy didn't really upset me, but Frankie bowled fantastic there. And, he just looked at me like, seriously? Like, this is what you've got for me? Like, seriously? Like, we wasted $500 on this? Right. I think I bowled 150 twice on the fresh when we got 15 minutes practice. So that was
very hard in Indy last year.
No, they weren't. No, I'll admit that they weren't very hard. It was actually harder doing what I was doing than it was to strike.
Cody Myers, he bowled in our Southwest region. He says, in terms of ratings for TV shows, are you guys in favor of making them softer on TV for higher scoring pace or harder? Or basically the same, which turns out most of the time to be a little bit harder because they get flatter front to back on TV. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
There's two sides to this. There's the bowler's answer and there's the viewership business answer. The business answer is if I'm running the PBA, I'm making them softer. I want strikes just like these regions are showing. It's fun to watch people strike. It makes us look even better than we already are because some people are like, pro bowlers, whatever. They don't take it serious. But then you watch Chris make his first show in the West region. He's averaging 260. Then it really puts in perspective like, wow, these guys are really good. But from bowlers' point of views, we're like, we want them tougher. We want this, we want all our tricks and accuracy and knowledge to shine over the next guy and not get beat by max reaction because he has 5 boards to play with. So that's two sides, in my opinion. So it's hard to say one or the other.
I 100% don't care if we keep playing for $250,000.
Yeah. Let's put out the house shot. Come on.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I agree. I think it is probably more fun to watch most of the time. In general, low scores on TV have their place from time to time when they're really challenging, but in general, it's probably a little more fun to watch strikes to a point. That being said, as a competitor, I think the hardest part, I don't really care about the scoring pace so much. I like, you gather information through a week and then you get on a TV show and when it all changes and you throw it out the window, it turns into whose A game fits way more.
Yeah, max reaction.
Yeah, and so, Kelso, guys that do the thing that they do best and they get to do it on TV, well, of course they're going to bowl pretty good.
Right.
Tommy was like that. Tommy won all the time when he basically did one thing. When Tommy learned how to make shows that he wasn't supposed to make, then he became a little more immortal on TV.
Right.
Well, imagine how many titles Wes Malott would have more if we just bowled every show back in 2008 at the Kegel Training Center.
Well, we just bowling the Scorpion. We couldn't beat him in any of them. So
yeah, but what I'm saying is on that at the Kegel Training Center, it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
like he bowled 300 twice. Like it was crazy.
Yeah. Well, you got to pick the pattern. It's the only thing that changed was his carry. Yeah, everybody's carry got better. So instead of shooting 250, you just shot 300 every time. I mean, it was.
But I mean, to me, I think that what makes the TV shows exciting is how it was this weekend, where there was tight games, there was roll-offs, and it can make it so that it becomes more exciting when the scores are higher because everybody's striking, so therefore it makes the scores closer. Because realistically, when you make them that easy, you take any score under 230 out. So, of course, there's more chance of it being close because it's almost impossible to shoot less than 230.
When we see it at the Weber Cup, where there's a lot of one-shot matches.
Yeah.
Basically.
But they do that artificially by using the world scoring system.
Which also compresses it.
A blowout could actually be close given one bad break. But, I mean, I feel like the games are too long for TV if you're being completely honest. Because there's not that many games that happen like that show. And I feel like we should bowl like almost best of 3 and bowl like 4-frame matches. Then you would have tight matches all the time.
Yeah, every time.
And it'd be like darts. But I don't think we should do that for all of them. And I don't think we should do that in a major. I think that should be used for the smaller tournaments to try and bring more of an audience into those. You'd hope that if you're running a major tournament and paying, $250,000 for first and $1 million prize fund, that's what's going to bring people in. That's the prestige in it. And I feel like it gets watered down a little bit by making them really easy. But whatever, like I said, try whatever they can. If that increases the viewership, then I'm all for it. And I'm not going to get upset about it. It's not a big enough. I don't think for me personally, it's a big enough factor because I don't make the TV show enough. But even so, I just don't feel like for the majority of the guys, that's like the end of the world.
No,
Us paying for more money is the big deal. And if that brings in more viewers, then great, let's do it.
Yeah,
I think it does. I mean, there's a reason why we don't get some of the viewership we feel we should. We're not an Olympic sport. People that don't understand bowling can't just tune in, where you can tune into other sports and not have a clue what's going on, but still be kind of interested. If you don't kind of know what's going on in bowling, you're just kind of like, all right, well, they knocked them over, and they don't. So at least if you see them knock them over a whole bunch, people be like, oh man, these guys never miss. I go bowl and I never throw a strike, and they've got 7 of 8 in a row. So
sorry, I've just got to slap one of our users. You're joking, right? Like, is this guy joking?
Yeah.
What, you don't think that them making the fairway narrower makes it more difficult?
and shorter and
and the rough
smaller grass.
And the rough not being as punishing. You don't think those things change it?
You ever watch the Las Vegas tournament where they shoot 30 under for the 4 rounds to win every year? I mean, they can do.
And
if
they
you play
can
the courses we play,
ball.
they would shoot 62 every round.
Right.
I used to play with a guy in Wichita. He shot 6 under every time I played with him, and he couldn't make the qualifier in the European Tour. Nice. I mean, I never saw him shoot 68, let alone anything higher than that. And he's
I didn't even go into this part. Make the pin placements easier. Pin placements. Well, yeah. Have a look at the par 3 tournament where they hit it and they put their arm in the air because they know it's going to roll in.
Find that funnel on the green.
And I just real quick, Nathan Pope, you're on probation. We're not going to have any more of this.
Wow.
So.
Well, I appreciate it, Nathan. It's worth it. It's worth it. Even if you're rooting for Packy, it's worth it.
See, here's another thing that Brian brings up. There's where Spectre helps. Casual viewers can see how good or bad a shot is. See, I don't really agree with that because the problem with it is if the shot says, like for the casual viewer, I think that them having it, like 2 things. One, the rev rate is so up and down that it makes it look like, is 15% a lot to miss by? I don't know. I'm a professional bowler. I don't know. Like looking at the way the Spectre reads it, it doesn't feel like that's much difference. But if that's what you've done your whole life, how would you know? For one. For 2, I also find it confusing for the casual viewer that they write, well, if it's 11.6 and 12.4, that looks like a big difference, but they're both 12.
Yeah.
I don't understand the decimal points are relevant. Like, we're talking about an inch. The bowling ball is how many boards wide? Like,
7.
Why are we talking about a 10th of an inch? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. And it's just, I think as we move on, it's better information. It's kind of like watching fastballs and stuff like that. And you watch them and you go like, if you're casual, you just go, oh, he threw that one harder, he threw that one slower. And then you watch the tracks and you go, holy cow, they're bouncing up and down. If you played baseball, 8 miles an hour is a lot, especially when the first one's coming in at 98. So.
I can see where a casual viewer who might not understand bowling enough, it can help and hurt them. It can confuse them because they don't quite know what RPMs means, speed. Whenever bowlers make ball changes and they move and they adjust, you saw Packy on that left lane after a couple shots of trying to play 12. He went to 19. Some viewers might be like, wow, he threw that one really bad. That wasn't even close to the other shot he was throwing. But also at the same time, it kind of just sheds light on what we're doing and where we're playing the lanes. It's like 50-50. So I agree. It helps. It hurts. I watched the show last night with my girlfriend's parents, and they don't know a thing about bowling, so they were asking a million questions. And when I kind of told them about the Specto and stuff, sometimes they're like, "Oh, okay." Like after they watched the first match, they kind of could tell, like, "Oh, that wasn't a very good shot. He missed a couple right down lane." But then it's like, yeah, but you can do that when they're easy. So it kind of complicates it and simplifies it. So it kind of breaks even on the Specto. I like it. I think it just makes it more interesting, and there's more to watch than just a guy chucking a bowling ball if you're someone that doesn't know bowling. So then
I just feel like if they kept it like, as opposed to everything being to the nth degree, if it was just like this was 18 miles an hour, or even if it's like 18 and a half, 19, whatever, just to give people a guide. Just to give people a guide more than anything else. So real quick, one last time, Jason, I'm just saying they have to hit the ball fairly straight. Yeah, the guy has to bowl the ball fairly straight. Like, come on, dude. Like
the difference between hitting 13 and having 12 and 11, and the difference between missing a fairway by 10 yards right and being in the rough and 30 yards right and being in the fairway is massive.
Yeah. The difference is, Jason, is you bowl and I would say, looking at the way you're posting, that you're way better at bowling than you are at golf. If I talk to my friends who are like single handicap golfers who don't bowl, they think it's incredible that we can hit the head pin every time. Like, I think it's incredible that they go like 12 holes or 15 holes without missing the fairway. They don't see it as that way because they hit the wrong part of the fairway. So now they can't get to the green in the way they want to.
I think this is a great point. Yeah. No, I hear you. How Randy presents it has a big part to do with it. If he presents that as, yeah, he got a couple down lane, that's how Kevin's rev rate comes into play. He's able to create this shape, how he's manipulating it to do that. That becomes a bigger deal. You can make it into a good thing, not a hey, he's throwing it all over the yard.
And that's their job. That's what he's up there to do, is to shed light on these numbers that they see on screen.
And I think overall, I think that Randy's been doing an okay job. I think he's been doing a pretty good job with it. Like, I think that he's trying to incorporate it in the broadcast in a 20-second slot. It's a lot easier to do that job on Extra Frame or on Flow Bowling, rather.
Got 7 hours to dial it in.
Haven't done TV. I mean, you have little 8-second windows basically to present your information, and it's hard to do accurately and fairly completely. I was terrible at it for a long time. I got a little better at it, but
it's too much to say and too much in your head.
Or the nonsense in my head is absolutely a problem. So yeah.
Chris, what happened on that shot? God, how much time we got here?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, go into
mirror.
I'm late.
I want you guys to meet my sister. She's
hello.
Appointed for immunotherapy here this morning, and so keep her in your thoughts. All right.
All right. Good luck.
Right. We'll see you later.
See.
In a couple hours.
She's got a lot of hair back now,
Yeah, I do. I got a hairstyle just like you.
Yeah.
Twins.
Yeah, I liked it best when I worked with Randy. And obviously his energy level is way higher than mine will ever be. And so I thought it was pretty complimentary, and we could talk bowling back and forth. He could tee me up to do the technical stuff, which is what I like to do. And then he's really good at a lot of that stuff. So, yeah, maybe one day we'll get to join him in the booth a little bit.
Joe, stop. Randy's probably got more chance. I'll rephrase this. Randy has more chance of replacing me on the PBA tour than I have of Randy in the booth. And Randy doesn't want to bowl anymore.
What do we need to do in order? It's going to take a Jeff Galooly, and you're going to have to finish the job probably for any of us to be in the booth. He's been there 25 years, 20 years now.
Yeah, but I think that it's really
good at it.
I think that people don't realize how difficult it is. Are the guys who are saying that he's terrible at it and he needs to go?
I think Randy's great at it. I think he's great at this job.
It's a really hard job, and not that I would encourage anybody to watch some of the early college stuff I did, but you want to see how bad somebody can be at it? Wow. I mean, it would be like me trying to rap right now. Just freestyle for you. You don't want to see that. Nobody wants to hear that.
No worries, Jason. I know. I just get a little bit. I'm very touchy about us comparing bowling and golf because I think they're just in two complete different spots. So, and golf's viewership's down the shitter as well. So,
Is it
if
really?
anything, bowling's viewership's on its way up and golf's going down. And if Justin Thomas keeps playing, it might go down even further.
Or go up. I might watch that. So,
oh, no, don't say that.
no, I don't know. As Vince Biondo, this is the Ginger Spin Biscuits father and a very, very, very good bowler in his own right. This sums it up pretty well. As a player, you want them harder, but whatever they're doing, the pattern is working. Ultimately, the two top qualifiers in both regions, both advanced, and the shows. I think all the shows were good and they were compelling and they were very competitive. It's a good point. Ultimately,
yeah, I think the only point we ever argue about is whether the scores influence viewership. That's the only thing we ever argue about. Like right now, the only thing that people argue that is 100% correct is if we have A, celebrities bowl, and B, we're on just before or just after the NFL, our ratings are higher. That's about the only thing that's definite.
Yeah. Bring Bo Burton back. Ooh. I love Bo. I grew up on Bo. We don't need him talking about the dark sport. And that's not going to be the answer. But I do agree with this one a lot. Atmosphere makes the show. The Moscone Cup, the Weber Cup, I think it's a much different atmosphere. I think it's a lot more fun as a competitor when the place is full. The Weber Cup this year was odd and probably helped a couple of our guys that haven't been great on TV be a little more comfortable and get their feet wet. I think it allows guys like Kelso and Benji to be more or at least less uncomfortable in that environment the first time.
100%.
And then they get, then it's just bowling. And they're obviously really good at bowling. So when you take away all the outside distractions, they get to be what they are.
That's exactly how I said about it too. If you guys watch NBA, they went to the bubble at the end of last year, and we saw a lot of guys shine in the bubble that we didn't know as well. Because when you take out the pressure of the crowd, the moment, and it's like an open gym, well, all those guys are good at basketball. So those guys are like, oh, I do this every day. And then they start to shine. Same thing in bowling. You take away some of that atmosphere and the actual pressure. Now these guys are just going to do what they are obviously good at. Everyone that makes a show, it's hard to luck into making a telecast, So these guys are bowling good. They're good at what they do. And when it comes in, it's like, hey, you're just bowling against this other dude over here, just you two. There's no one else really watching. It's not live. It's like, oh, okay, I got it. So where I talked about this with Josh Blanchard, he asked me, how is it going to affect you guys? And I said, I think it hurts me because I'm not afraid of that moment. I love the moment. I would feed off the crowd. When I was in Indy, I really fed off the crowd and tried to get them on my side, where a Benji or someone like that, they might see the crowd and they throw a couple bad shots and you hear some reactions and you got 100 people watching you right then and there. You start to squeeze a little more. So when that's out of play, now you got a kid just coming in trying to have some fun and throw some strikes. So, and you saw it. He shot 270 first game. Chris shot 800. I mean, it changes it drastically.
I think that you're the one who has to answer this, Chris. Me and Kevin don't have enough data.
Well, I think it's the same TV-wise as otherwise. There are some people, they're able to keep their same level across the board. Lots of people maybe add one more bad one a game. But Benoit explained this to me when I was early on in my career, because I felt like I had to be perfect to make a TV show. And once I understood that even Walter Ray was basically making 8 out of 10. Now, they were really high. I mean, the qualifier is pretty far up there for some of those guys like Walter and Norman, but they were making 8 out of 10 90%ers. That when they threw it, they knew it was hitting the pocket. So if they lined up well, and now how well they lined up, depending on how those other 2 shots were on TV, if you can keep that same rate, but really 8 out of 10 is a really good rate if you're lined up well. What happens on those other 2 shots lots of times determines on what happens, who wins and loses. Definitely. Is it close? It's like you said, where you missed and left a 6-pin, got a chance. AJ missed, his miss was bigger, and he left the rail, and later on you had a 6 count that could have bit you. When those misses turn into 6-3 is when, those are 35-pin misses.
And it's all based off what you're bowling too. I mean,
yeah.
it,
Sure.
all based off conditions as well. But yeah, that's what we, when I give lessons and I talk with people in bowling, it's not our good shots. A league bowler can throw a good shot and strike. We throw a good shot and strike. Everyone's good shots are going to be good. How good are your bad shots? When we throw a bad shot, we're looking at a 9 count usually, where a bad shot could be 6, a split or whatever. We try to get rid of those, death penalty shots. So you throw a bad shot, and it's like, well, I missed in a little bit, but I'm probably going to flat 7. Instead, it's like I missed in, I big forward. So that's what we look for. So you want to have a bad shot and still have it to do the right thing. It's max reaction now.
Right. There was something else I saw up here. There's a lot of compliments for how good Randy is. And like guys like Craig Elliott is down here. He says anybody who thinks that commentating bowling live is easy needs to get in front of a mic once. And that there's a lot of truth to that. I tried to be Bo Burton because I thought that's what they wanted me to be. And it was awful.
I love commentating. I love commentating. I don't do it very often, but when I can sneak in a booth with Craig or inside bowling or something, I love it. I'll talk.
Trust me, it's way easier doing like the extra frame
doubles and
that's easy. Like because you can just entertain people. You can tell them a story. Like you can trying to get that information across in like 6 or 8 seconds. That's what's really difficult.
Oh, 100%.
And you get a lot of
the better part's when you're midway through the thought and the producer goes, "All right, we're cutting to break. Dave, Rob, read cue card 6," and you're in the middle of talking about break point and entry angle, and you go and you stop, which I did that the first couple of times. Or the guy in the truck goes, "Mother, get the camera," and he's yelling at the guys on the camera. He doesn't mute you, so you're getting all this and then have to talk like a reasonable human being at the same time. And my skill set did not involve that. So I either stopped or went and
froze.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Anything in the world. You can't knock people for something you've never done because you don't truly know.
That's exactly what we do in sports all the time. We all sit on our couch and go, "How did Peyton Manning throw it there? What an idiot."
Why can't Danny Green hit a damn 3-pointer? Put me out there, Lakers. I'll make one.
Yeah, I can make that shot.
See, I never fall into that category. I'll be like, oh my God, Danny Green stinks. I never think I could make it.
I do. I'm like, shit, I could make a 3 in the corner. Line me up. Yeah,
you just haven't had the 6'9", 250-pound guy jumping at you just as you let go of it. You're like, ah!
It's so funny too when people talk about sports and you bring in like the third stringer or someone that's on the bench the whole game. Like, God, this guy really sucks. And I'm like, he just sucks because you're watching LeBron James play or you're watching Odell Beckham make a catch. These guys are all still very good. So you can't say he sucks.
There's like literally every D1 college player can go into any open gym and be the best player on the floor.
And never let anyone score, and they'll score every point they want to.
It's absurd how good the next level is.
Yeah, it's the separation is ridiculous.
And I do think from a person who bowls, the saddest thing about bowling is that it's hard for us to be able to showcase our talent in a really obviously easy way.
Yeah.
That's the thing that if I could change anything about bowling, that's the thing that's the hardest. Like, if I go on, if you go on a tennis court and you play against, one of those guys, you ain't hitting his serve.
Not even touching it. Not even.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're talking about that basketball thing. It's a little more obvious with basketball. But if we went out there with a basketball player who's the same size as us, like, does anybody seriously think they could stop Chris Paul from getting to the basket? Like, seriously? Like, really?
I got to try it once. It didn't go very well for me.
That's super funny. So when we were watching,
I ended up on my back.
Last year, whenever we were watching the NBA Finals, we were watching the Lakers, and I was out with a bunch of people. We were eating, and I don't know what we got on a topic of like how good basketball players really are, and I said to all my friends that know my basketball background and they know I'm decent at basketball, whatever. I was like, "Do you guys think I could score on LeBron James one time in 10 tries? Like one time, I just get a lucky bucket up?" And all of them said, "No chance. You would never score on him." And I was kind of offended. I was like, "You don't think I could just hoist up one lucky shot and it goes in?" They're like, "No, you wouldn't score one time on him." And I was like, "All right, I'm gonna prove you guys wrong. If I ever meet LeBron James, I'm gonna play him 1-on-1." But Probably wouldn't score.
I got to play Chris Paul to 5, and I think you can score 1, but it's going to have to be from 25 feet.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna be, because he's already up like 7-0 and he's laughing at you.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what I was trying to be halfway serious. Now it was the first Chris Paul event, so I was.
By the way, I'm so
30s.
jealous of this because he's my favorite player in the league. So I'm super jealous that you got to play him one-on-one.
He's an awesome dude. And I was late 30s, so still young enough to think I could play, and still old enough to not be able to play at all. But I wasn't aware of that, and I kind of get in. I'm trying to, and he starts laughing at me.
Did he back you down the whole time, or did he actually like?
No, he didn't. He just laughed at me because he knew he could jab step me and get me anywhere I wanted to go.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, even I've learned a lot more after kind of trying to go to coaching my son, and a little bit. And I was dead before I even started. Had I been the athlete that I think I could be in my head, I still couldn't have stopped him. So he just killed me any way he wanted to. He just laughed at me.
That's the biggest mystery I always want to answer. I just want to play like one NBA player for real, like one-on-one, knowing I'm going to get smoked, but like I just want to physically see how much better and how much easier it is. And even though I already know, I just want to do it. So I'm jealous of that, but I still could score on LeBron one time in 10 shots. Everyone can leave me alone on that.
See, like I was about to say, let me just preface that. I'm sure you could if LeBron wasn't invested in the fact that you couldn't score.
And everyone said that too. They're like, dude, they're probably not going to take it too serious. But if it was like, hey, lock this kid down, don't let him score. Yeah, I'm not scoring. But I got like one move.
But Steph Curry can't score when LeBron says that. So why are you going to score?
I'm just quick enough that I think I could get just enough separation to hoist up some deep three. And if it goes, I'm laughing at everyone's face. But
when I think of Kevin, I go, yeah, Steph Curry. It's close.
Yeah.
Even though Steph Curry's about 5'4" inches taller, even though he's the midget on the court.
Yeah, he looks tiny, but he's actually 6'4" still.
One of the most disappointing moments of my life. JJ Barea was there with the Mavericks at the ESPYs, and so I'm walking around, and Tyson Chandler and Dirk look like the guys from. I mean, they're aliens.
Monsters.
Their shoulders are a foot wider than mine. They're a foot taller than me. They might as well be 3 feet taller than me.
And they weigh only a little bit more.
And just hey. It was a little while back, maybe not quite that much. And then JJ Barea walked up, and I go, I mean, he's like 5'7" or 8, right? 5'9", and I'm looking eye to eye with him. I'm like, oh, really?
Even he's almost 6 feet.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul is actually my height. We're basically eye to eye, which makes it even more stunning because he looks small, but he does not play small on the court. And I'm always stunned at how slow he can play fast.
Yeah. He is.
I know it doesn't make sense, but he is so patient, methodical, and the fastest hands and players they can't touch him. So
there you go, Kevin. Throw it between LeBron's legs, wheel to the side, and drop the three.
I mean, he's a big guy. I probably could get under his legs pretty easily.
I don't know if you can chase it down before you can get to it, but yeah.
Hey, LeBron might speak to you like he spoke to that woman who mouthed off at him last night.
Did you see the interview of that? She was like, he was cussing out my husband. I told him I'd beat his ass. I'm like, this girl's like 106 pounds, pure plastic in her face, yelling at 6'8", 260 LeBron that she's gonna beat his ass. I don't know.
And LeBron's saying, "Sit down, bitch."
Yeah.
He said, I miss the fans. I love the interaction with the fans. I'm like, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of time his skin is thinner than his hairline. So
yeah.
For a guy who's already accomplished everything and has zero to prove, maybe that's what drives him. But
I mean, it's really difficult for the basketball players because they're the only ones who don't wear like anything over their face. They're the ones who are like way closer to the fans than the rest of them. But it does feel like, in general, that the football players seem to take the fan hate, I guess, better. But like I say, it's obviously not quite as personal because the person isn't 3 feet from you. In any of the other sports?
Do you think bowling would be more interesting if we had fans like that, hecklers, and because we have haters.
We do.
I've got
We
people
do.
tagging me and stuff right now.
100%.
People are not happy with my show on some things, but you don't ever see it. You only see it on the Facebook Warriors or whatever. But you see all the time NBA and NFL have people like that. Does that change if we had bowling people that were just like in the crowd, like, you suck, Chris?
Oh, we do. Have you never bowled on Long Island with Barnes? It's the greatest thing ever. Right. We've told this story on here before, but it's still the greatest ever. So we bowl the plastic ball on Long Island, right? Okay. So we bowl all week with plastic balls. Then they bowl the pro-am on the Saturday, and we have to break into the truck to get a reactive ball each to bowl the pro-am, right? So we bowl the pro-am, right? And I'm bowling next to Barnes in the pro-am. And this guy shoots like 278 or whatever, because it's 9-pin no tap, right?
Right.
Chris has like the front 9, and the guy's like chirping at Chris, right? Chris goes up, and he gets 7 on the fill or whatever. He splits, whatever it is, right? And the guy, and this is on Saturday, and the guy turned around from the back and screams, "Nice to see you can choke on Saturday as well as Sunday, Barnes."
What'd you do, Chris? You were just like, yeah, well, you know.
Chris is just like, "This is why I fucking hate Long Island."
Oh no. No, I'm sure I said something about, well, you know, it's easy to say from watching from your couch every time there's money in the line or whatever.
You gotta love those keyboard warriors that people tell you to stick to your day job, and it's like, well, for one, we know you're a bowler because you're watching bowling. You know, you didn't just chime in and hate on someone and you have no clue about bowling. So you bowl a league, you ain't gonna ever put up a dime to bowl against any of us. So why are you saying what you say?
But that's not true, because on Long Island, it's the one place where they actually do.
Hey, yeah, okay.
Thankfully,
they're a different breed up there. They're different.
No, they paid for a couple semesters of college. I appreciate it.
The thing that was most fun about it was this guy had paid to bowl the pro-am with Chris.
Yeah. My score counted with his, and he was happy that I missed. I mean, math isn't necessarily a Long Island trademark. Let's just go with that.
He's like, I'll never get this chance again to yell at Chris.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean,
I appreciated it. It was the funniest part of my day.
It was pretty funny. What are you going to do? I've lost a lot on Sundays.
And he ceased it.
I was on a lot of Sundays, but yeah, I lost a lot of Sundays. So, you know.
Ray lost a lot on Sunday as well, but nobody seems to worry about that.
Well, they didn't have Dave Ryan as the commentator the whole time. If Bo Burton would have reminded you every single time that Walter went 3 years without winning a title, you know, we'd all know that fact.
Right.
But I got Dave Ryan. They got somebody who's capable of spitting out more than one line about everybody. So,
all right. Should we wrap this up? We've been on for an hour and 10 minutes.
We do. Kev, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks.
And if you want to freestyle, we'll give you one more chance here.
No, thank you.
I appreciate you coming on and completely upstaging our mic setup and showing us how small time we actually are. You like who's the guy I'm thinking of? Flanagan. Yeah, you obviously are compensating for something with the size of that mic. Just saying.
It's not that. It's not that. I actually stole it from a friend, so. So if that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you guys having me. It was fun chatting it up with you guys.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we were hoping that we were going to get Frankie on with you, but he big timed us. So
it's fine. It turned out way better, I bet. Anyways.
Yeah, exactly. We managed to we kept the audience. Not everybody. You know, some Americans don't like that foreign muck. These bloody foreigners coming in and winning all our money.
Exactly.
Yeah, really. I mean, at least you're local. So.
Yeah, I didn't want to talk to him anyways. So
yeah.
Just kidding. Love Frank.
I hold grudges too, don't worry. So
it's the left lane. It's all the left lane.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody thinks I hate left-handers, but we were gonna bowl the Planet Doubles if you know.
Nope, not good enough yet. Still, I gotta make 3 shows to both Chris Barnes, everyone. That's what he told me. Just kidding.
Well, if you were better, you wouldn't have been able to bowl with Chris Barnes, so there's that.
That's the truth. So
that's why I don't win a title, so I can still bowl with guys like Chris if I could ever bowl with him. You know, no 2 titleists. That's the only reason.
Yeah, but that doesn't count for regionals, brah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Whatever. I don't want to
yeah.
drive 9 hours to bowl for $2,000, okay? And lose to you guys. I just lose to you guys for at least 30, 50 grand. I don't want to lose to you guys for $2,000, okay?
It ain't that far to Kansas City. They got regionals there. They got regionals in St. Louis.
They have no regionals in Kansas City anymore. They have one in like maybe Lawrence. Hey.
Dale Traber and Jeff Riggles both have more than 20 titles. How hard can it be?
They're 6 hours up there.
That's not the reason it can't be that tough.
Hey, I've bowled like 6 regionals in my life, and I have like 4 second places. So, I'm just can't win. It is what it is.
Oh, boy.
Anyways.
We're going to find out if Riggles watches all the way to the end of the show now. So,
Hi, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm only mean about the Packers and Aaron Rodgers choking it off again. Hi. My guy's still playing on Sunday again.
Oh, it's my guy. He's not a Patriots fan. He's a Brady fan. There's
he's a Bucs fan now.
the bandwagon's moved.
I'm not a Bucs fan.
But
I'm not.
it's your guy.
But if it comes down to a choice between Kermit or Brady winning, and we know who Chris is cheering for, his team.
Hey, I'm cheering for Brady too. Oh, you haven't been a Chiefs fan your whole life, have you?
Yeah,
I grew up in Topeka. I grew up an hour from there.
That's right. All right.
I grew up in Bill Kenny and Steve DeBerg were quarterbacks, and when Todd Blackledge got drafted, and
all I'll say is I don't hate the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes, but I hate the Chiefs fans, and I'm around a lot of them. So I really need the Bucs to win this.
So Del Powell says Brady will lose, Stu. Del, there's been a lot smarter guys than you say that, and they've been wrong a lot, specifically in the last 5 or 6 years.
It's going to be a good game. That's all I'll say. Be a good game. I'm a Falcons fan, so I don't have any room to talk. So Stu's got me big time on that one. He's got me big time on that one.
I think it's actually, the Bucs defense. I said this a long time ago with Stu. I'm like, that's the team to be afraid of. That the roster is stacked. I didn't figure out why they were looking so bad at times.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be a good one.
Oh, man. Tuesday could be a great show. And even though it's not the Patriots, Stu, the Patriot fan, will be an incredibly annoying person to the Chief Kingdom.
The kingdom.
It turns out every winning team's fans are obnoxious.
Kind of annoying.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't really have a problem with it.
Yeah.
I was a New England Patriots fan. Of course we're unbearable. We went to the Super Bowl every year. Why wouldn't you be unbearable?
It's not that they win. It's because they get one win and they think they're the greatest to ever do it. And Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever touch a football. It's like you need to earn a little bit more than just one win to say those things. That's why I get upset.
The rhetoric after 3 years, even as a Chiefs fan, Mahomes is fantastic now.
He's amazing. But he's got a long ways to go. He's not
the
Tom
fact
Brady.
that 3 years in, he's in the conversation with Brady, Rodgers is amazing. But they did it for 15 years.
Well, he's in the conversation with Rodgers because Rodgers isn't in the same conversation with Brady. That's what's annoyed me about Packers fans for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, Brady is
well,
level.
I mean,
his winning is.
Yeah. Well, they make it sound like that's a bad thing.
No. Like I said, if McCarthy equals Belichick, then he probably did it on his. Then
maybe he
that
is
much better.
Maybe he is. He's got
maybe he is
the same record as Belichick without Brady.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, McCarthy with not Dak Prescott won almost as many games as Brady or as Belichick did with Cam Newton. So maybe you're right.
I mean,
that's the only thing Tom Brady had to prove was can he do it without Belichick, and here we are.
Yeah,
so, that's the only reason he left. I think that's the only reason he left. He was like, I'm this guy.
He was a hero in week 3, 4, and then he was, not nearly as much without Belichick for about 5 weeks, and now he's back to. Now he's the best of all time forever and ever and ever. So,
here's a great one. I'm in Minnesota between Favre and Rodgers. Hate is not a strong enough word. Here's a way to make it feel better, Carl, right? For all of that, they've won 2 between them. 2.
Right. Well,
So
yeah, I just think it's you do have to have things around them. I don't think the Packers they've done a better job than, say, San Diego's GM did of giving Rivers a chance. But a good teams give great quarterbacks a chance to win Super Bowls. But if you're just an average team, all they do is they can get you to the playoffs. But
Yeah.
you can't beat real teams.
I think this is
by
the same
yourself.
thing about when you bowl with a really good team, though, right?
Mhm.
When anybody would bowl team with Chris, they knew that they had, for the best part of 10 years, they had the best bowler in the world on their team. So, of course, you were all more buttoned up and you were like, because you were like, we're in this, we can win. And that's what Tom Brady brings to the team. So is Tom Brady the best player in the books? No. Is he the most valuable? Absolutely he is. Because when he comes in, the 12th best defensive back now is like, shit, that's Tom Brady. It's go time.
He's a fantastic
That's
leader, 100%.
And
He changed the culture in that team, in a matter of months. And I think it took a little while because they didn't have preseason. But basically inside of 3 months, that team doesn't look the same now as it looked 6 months ago, for sure, with basically the same players.
Here's one of the New York fans. Haven't heard from them for about the past decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got Jason Pierre-Paul now. He doesn't need to worry about him running him over. He's on his team. There you go. That's the good one.
Yeah.
Brady's overrated. 21 years in the NFL. He's only won the NFC Championship once. That's very clever.
Well,
About the same amount of times as Breeze and Rodgers.
ooh. Also that.
So, okay, we really should go now. Sorry if you're on YouTube and you've watched till the end. The last 10 minutes has probably been quite disappointing.
This would be this.
And we'll close with this. When you name your firstborn after a player, you're allowed to be unreasonable. There we go.
My son's seen 5 Super Bowls. Tom Brady's played in 4 of them.
That's pretty sick.
It's irritating. All right. With that,
All right. See you later.
anybody you'd like to thank, Kevin, on your way out?
Thank you guys for having me, and just thank everyone for the support. There's some hate going around, but for the most part, people love seeing what I'm doing, and I appreciate that because I'm going to be me always. That's is what it is. So, but thank
Make
you
them
guys.
have an opinion.
Yeah, ever can't do it right if you don't have haters. So,
All right. Hey, once again, support those small businesses out there. Those bowling centers help them get through this tough time. And when you get a choice, please support our sponsors: Storm, Rotogrip, Niner Global, Vice, Turbo, Coolwick, 3G, Master, Bowlers Mart, and Mark Baylor Bowling, Baker Bowling. Until next time, join us on Thursday, and we'll come back to you then. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless.